Throughout history, humanity has whispered of a curse, one that transcends time, faith, and civilization. From ancient temples to modern cities, unseen forces are said to linger, feeding on fear, desire, and despair. These are the remnants of ancient spirits, demons once worshipped, now feared, whose shadows still haunt our world today. In this video, we'll uncover the origins of the demon's curse, trace its path through myth and religion, and reveal how these dark entities continue to influence human destiny. Prepare yourself, for the past is not dead, and the ancient spirits have never truly left. The demon's curse, ancient spirits that still haunt humanity. From the dawn of civilization, humanity has told stories of unseen forces, malevolent entities that lurk beyond mortal sight yet influence the world with invisible hands. Known by many names, demons, spirits, shades, jinn, or wraiths, these beings have haunted humanity's collective memory since time immemorial. They were not always regarded as pure evil, some were tricksters, others punishers, and a few were remnants of older gods cast down when new religions rose. The demon's curse is not merely a superstition, it is a reflection of humanity's deepest fears and unhealed wounds. These ancient spirits, born from myth and shadow, embody the primal anxieties of death, disease, temptation, and madness. But what if these entities are more than imagination? What if the echoes of ancient spirits still resonate in the dark corners of human experience, whispering in our nightmares, shaping our fears, and haunting our collective psyche? Let us journey across time and myth to uncover the origins, power, and persistence of the demon's curse, from Sumerian underworld spirits to the restless shades of medieval Europe and beyond. 1. The birth of the curse, ancient Mesopotamian spirits. The cradle of civilization, Mesopotamia, gave birth to some of humanity's first recorded demons. In the clay tablets of Sumer, Akkad, and Babylon, spirits were described as both divine and infernal. These beings were not necessarily evil in the modern sense, rather, they were forces of nature and fate, agents of divine will or chaos. Among the most feared were the Utuku, Giddim, and Lilu spirits. The Utuku were restless souls of the dead who wandered the earth when denied proper burial rites. The Giddim, or Itemu, were ghosts who brought sickness or madness. The Lilu and Lilitu, male and female night spirits, were believed to seduce humans, drain vitality, or cause infant deaths. From Lilitu would eventually arise the later figure of Lilith, the first demoness of Western lore. To protect themselves, Mesopotamians created complex rituals and amulets, invoking the names of gods like Ea, Marduk, or Shamash to drive away the evil wind. Demons were often seen as instruments of divine justice, sent to punish sinners or test mortals' faith. Thus, the curse was not random, it was cosmic retribution, an eternal balancing of moral and spiritual order. But once unleashed, such spirits were nearly impossible to contain. They slipped through cracks between life and death, becoming archetypes of terror that would outlive their civilizations. 2. Egypt's haunting gods, when the divine turned dark. In ancient Egypt, the boundary between god and demon was thin. Egyptian religion was filled with thousands of spirits, many of whom could bless or curse depending on how they were approached. One of the most chilling examples is the Amut, the devourer of souls. This crocodile-headed demoness awaited in the Hall of Judgment, ready to consume the hearts of the unworthy dead. To the Egyptians, sin was not forgiven, it was annihilated. Other spirits such as Apophis, Apep, the great serpent of chaos, represented the eternal struggle between order, Ma'at, and destruction, Isfet. Each night, the sun god Ra battled Apophis in the underworld to ensure dawn would return. If Ra failed, eternal night and disorder would consume creation. The Egyptians also feared Bor, malevolent ghostly forces capable of haunting tombs or harming the living. Curses were often inscribed on tomb walls to protect against grave robbers. The famous Pharaoh's curse that supposedly plagued those who opened Tutankhamun's tomb is a modern echo of this ancient dread, a warning that the dead do not rest quietly. To the Egyptians, the curse was spiritual law, disturb the balance, and you invite the wrath of unseen guardians. The curse thus served both as moral deterrent and metaphysical warning, one that continues to fascinate and terrify today. 3. The Greek daimons, spirits between gods and men. The Greek word daimon originally had no evil connotation. To the ancient Greeks, daimons were mediators, beings between gods and mortals, influencing luck, fate, and inspiration. Even Socrates claimed to have a daimonion, a guiding inner spirit that warned him against wrongdoing. However, not all daimons were benevolent. Some, like the Kirs, were dark spirits of death who feasted on the blood of the fallen in battle. The Impusa, a shape-shifting demoness with a single leg of brass, was said to seduce and devour men. And the Lamia, cursed by Hera to lose her children, became a monstrous spirit that hunted the children of others out of vengeance. Greek tragedy often portrayed these entities as manifestations of human guilt and divine wrath. When a person violated moral or sacred law, a curse, known as miasma, could cling to them and their descendants. The Furies, Erinyes, would then rise from the underworld to torment the guilty until atonement was achieved. Through Greek thought, the concept of the demon began to shift from external monsters to internal forces of conscience, temptation, and madness. The demon's curse thus became psychological as much as spiritual, a haunting within the mind itself. 4. The Roman shadows, legacy of the Lemma race. The Romans inherited and expanded upon the Greek spiritual worldview, populating their world with ghosts, manes, household spirits, lares and penates, and vengeful shades, Lemma race. Every May, the Romans celebrated Lemuria, a festival to appease the angry dead. Families would toss black beans behind them at midnight while chanting incantations to banish the spirits of the unburied or wronged. With these beans, I redeem myself and mine, they would say, hoping the dead would accept the offering and depart in peace. Yet, not all spirits could be pacified. Some were believed to carry curses that afflicted entire households or cities. When disaster struck, plague, war, famine, the Romans often turned to expiatory rituals, seeking to lift the unseen curse that angered their gods and unleashed the restless spirits. The Roman demon thus symbolized ancestral guilt, the idea that the sins of the past never truly die. In this way, the demon's curse became intergenerational, an invisible inheritance that haunted bloodlines and empires alike. 5. The Hebrew and early Christian transformations. The ancient Hebrews redefined the demon's curse through a monotheistic lens. Evil spirits were no longer independent entities but rebellious forces that opposed God's will. In early Jewish tradition, particularly the Book of Enoch, demons were described as the spirits of the Nephilim, giants born from the union of fallen angels and human women. When the flood destroyed the Nephilim, their half-divine spirits remained earthbound, cursed to wander and torment humankind until the final judgment. This became one of the earliest forms of the demon's curse as divine punishment, a byproduct of celestial rebellion that forever tainted the world. In the New Testament, demons took on an even darker role. They became embodiments of sin and temptation, possessing the weak and warring against the soul. Jesus' exorcism symbolized spiritual liberation from these ancient forces. Yet, even Christianity could not fully erase the pre-Christian dread of haunting spirits. The early Church Fathers, influenced by both Hebrew scripture and Greco-Roman philosophy, interpreted demons as fallen angels, once glorious beings corrupted by pride. Their leader, Lucifer, bore the ultimate curse, eternal exile and hatred of creation. Through this theology, the ancient concept of haunting spirits evolved into the cosmic battle between good and evil, a war that continues in the unseen world, influencing humanity's fate. 6. The Middle Ages, when the curse became flesh. The medieval world saw demons everywhere. Disease, misfortune, lust, and madness were often attributed to infernal interference. The Black Death was seen by many as the scourge of demonic punishment. Entire treatises, such as the Malleus Maleficarum, were devoted to identifying, condemning, and eradicating demonic influence, particularly through accusations of witchcraft. The belief in demonic possession reached its height during this period. Victims were said to speak in unknown tongues, levitate, or exhibit unnatural strength. priests performed violent exorcisms to free the afflicted from the curse. Whether these were true supernatural events or psychological phenomena, the fear was real, and the church used it to reinforce moral authority. Demons also took on symbolic roles in medieval art and literature. From Dante's Inferno to the grotesque gargoyles of Gothic cathedrals, these creatures reminded believers of the eternal consequences of sin. Yet beneath the terror lay a profound truth: the demon's curse had become a metaphor for the human condition. To be alive was to struggle against temptation, darkness, and despair. Every soul was a battlefield between light and shadow. 7. The East: curses, spirits, and shadows. Beyond the Western world, the concept of the demon's curse took many unique forms, shaped by local beliefs about spirits and the afterlife. In ancient India, demons were known as asuras, beings who once shared heaven with the gods, devas, but were cast down after rebellion. The asuras, though powerful, were not pure evil; they represented cosmic opposition, necessary for balance. The true curse, according to Hindu thought, was ignorance, being trapped in endless cycles of desire and rebirth. In Buddhist traditions, demons such as Mara symbolized the inner obstacles to enlightenment: fear, desire, and illusion. The demon's curse here was psychological rather than external, the power of the mind to create its own suffering. In China and Japan, restless spirits known as gui or onryo were said to arise from violent deaths, betrayal, or injustice. These vengeful ghosts sought retribution, haunting their oppressors or entire communities. The infamous Japanese onryo, such as Oiwa or Okiku, inspired countless ghost stories and films, proof that even in the modern age, humanity remains enthralled by the fear of the vengeful dead. Across Asia, the curse is both spiritual and moral, a reflection of imbalance, karma, or broken harmony. Whether through ritual, repentance, or ancestral respect, balance must be restored, or the haunting never ends. 8. Africa and the middle world of spirits. In African spiritual traditions, the boundary between the living and the spirit world is fluid. Ancestors, gods, and demons coexist in an intricate web of relationships that shape destiny and fortune. The concept of a curse, often called a taboo violation or spiritual affliction, arises when one offends the ancestors or disturbs natural law. Spirits, sometimes benevolent, sometimes wrathful, can attach themselves to families or individuals, bringing illness, madness, or misfortune. Among the Yoruba, for example, malevolent spirits called ajagun represent forces of misfortune such as disease, loss, or conflict. Rituals of cleansing and sacrifice are used to appease them. In Central Africa, ndoki or witch spirits are believed to curse their victims through envy or revenge. Unlike the Western notion of demons as purely evil, African cosmologies often see these spirits as agents of cosmic justice. The curse serves as a moral correction, restoring order where harmony has been broken. The persistence of such beliefs today, through traditional healing, ancestor rituals, and protective charms, reveals how deeply the demon's curse is entwined with humanity's sense of morality and fate. 9. The modern haunting: science meets the supernatural. With the rise of science and psychology, belief in literal demons waned, but it never disappeared. Instead, it evolved. Today, the demon's curse often manifests in more subtle ways, as psychological torment, generational trauma, or unexplained phenomena. In modern terms, possession might be seen as dissociative disorder, and curses as expressions of collective fear or guilt. Yet, even with rational explanations, people across the world still report encounters with malevolent forces, sleep paralysis demons, haunted houses, shadow figures, and unexplainable misfortunes that seem to carry ancient weight. Parapsychology and spiritualism of the 19th and 20th centuries sought to bridge science and the supernatural. Researchers like Frederick Myers and Carl Jung proposed that demons and spirits could be archetypes of the collective unconscious, symbols of repressed emotion or cosmic duality. Jung wrote, "The demons are nothing other than the inner contents of the unconscious which, because of their autonomy, appear as projections." Whether spiritual or psychological, the curse remains potent because it resonates with the human experience of suffering. The demons that once haunted tombs and temples now dwell within the human psyche, whispering not in tongues of fire, but through anxiety, addiction, obsession, and despair. 10. The eternal return, why the demon's curse endures. Why does the idea of a demon's curse endure across millennia, cultures, and religions? Perhaps because it speaks to something fundamental in human nature. The curse is both fear and meaning, a story that helps us explain chaos in a moral universe. When tragedy strikes, we search for cause and punishment. When evil arises, we imagine an external force to embody it. Demons and curses give structure to the shapeless terror of existence. They remind us that actions have consequences, that darkness exists both outside and within us, and that redemption must be earned. In every age, the demon's curse evolves. The Sumerian Giddim became the Christian devil. The Greek daimon became the inner demon of the psyche. The Onryo became the ghost of vengeance in modern cinema. Yet the essence remains unchanged, a haunting that refuses to die. As long as humans fear death, guilt, and the unknown, the curse will persist, woven into our dreams, our myths, and our collective soul. The shadow in the mirror. The story of the demon's curse is not merely about supernatural terror, it is a mirror held up to humanity's own darkness. Every culture has conjured its own spirits of wrath and retribution, each a reflection of the fears, sins, and traumas of its people. The demons that haunt us are not only ancient, they are timeless. They live in guilt that will not fade, in hatred that breeds violence, in desires that consume. The true curse may not come from the spirit world at all but from within, the unseen forces that drive humanity toward destruction and despair. Yet, within that darkness lies the potential for understanding. To face our demons, literal or metaphorical, is to confront the truth of who we are. The exorcism, in the end, is not a battle of holy water and incantations, but of self-awareness and moral courage. The curse lingers because humanity still struggles with its shadow. But perhaps that struggle is the point. For in resisting the demon, whether spirit, thought, or curse, we affirm the light that makes us human. And so, the ancient spirits still haunt us not to destroy, but to remind us that even in darkness, the soul still seeks redemption. The shadows of the past still whisper through our world, echoes of curses cast long ago. From the myths of Babylon to the haunted corners of today, humanity's struggle with the unseen continues. If these ancient spirits truly linger, then perhaps the curse was never broken, only forgotten. Thank you for watching The Demon's Curse, Ancient Spirits That Still Haunt Humanity. If you enjoyed this journey into the dark origins of belief and fear, remember to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Until next time, stay curious, stay watchful, and beware what still walks unseen.